Hello friends, welcome to beautiful Columbus, Ohio. I'm here at Greenlawn Cemetery. It's one of the state's oldest and largest cemeteries. It's now the resting place of many of the city's founders, a lot of notable people. Let's go take a look. I'm gonna stop in here to the office, see if they have a map. Got some good information. Very nice people working in here. One of them is going to take me into a special mausoleum to see the governor, James A. Rhodes. There's a lot of notable people that are laid to rest here, and I can't wait to go walk through this cemetery. There's some interesting names. I've already compiled a list of people that I would like to visit and pay my respects to. So let's get started.
It's just all graves.
You have to have somebody get a key to let you in. They're so nice here. Wow.
Construction started in 1902, and this is all Tiffany glass.
Wow.
It used to be that this was the only part of it. There used to be another window here, but we expanded back in the 60s, and the second window is actually around this corner.
Oh, cool.
And that's where Governor Rhodes and his wife Helen are.
Huh. Governor James Rhodes. Last one available.
Yeah?
Right there. It's a double, isn't it?
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
convenient.
Wow. Real Tiffany glass. The whole place is real Tiffany. James Rhodes is one of 6 governors of Ohio that are buried here at Greenlawn. That was pretty cool, I must say. Now it's time to go find a couple other notable people from Central Ohio land at their final resting place. So I'm hanging here with my friends, Roger, Candy, Paul, and Kim. We're wandering around here, talking about all the great people that we're gonna try to find. Roger has got an interesting gig. He cleans grave sites with my friend Ron. I did a video a couple years ago at some cemeteries in West Jefferson, London, did some other places, and brought along my friend Ron. Well, Ron and Roger do this cool thing when they clean old grave sites. And they did a few here in Greenlawn. They actually have done some workshops here to teach other people how to do the same thing. So we're gonna go take a look at some of those grave sites as well. What a huge cemetery. I don't think I've ever been in a larger cemetery than this. It's just massive. Roger's telling us that this is Herbert Walker Bush's father and grandfather.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need a big one, just me, you, and Zoe.
Oh, broken. Here in the Civil War Memorial area, there are many grave sites with the death date of 1863. Every one I've seen so far. Fred Lazarus. Interesting story. If you're from the Columbus or Central Ohio area, you've probably heard of Lazarus. It was a department store that eventually turned into Macy's. I know you've heard of that. Lazarus started a long time ago. In fact, Simon Lazarus, who founded the department store, was the first rabbi in Columbus. They wanted to have this mausoleum placed at the very highest point in the whole cemetery because they were very fearful of being underwater in death. Interesting fact about the Lazaruses. Today is Halloween. It is October 31st, and I cannot think of a better way to pass the time than hang out in one of the greatest cemeteries in Central Ohio with some friends. It's a wonderful day out. The leaves are falling. The temperature's nice. Very pleasant. Love these cemeteries. Peaceful. Very peaceful.
Had you ever heard of, who was the Thurber?
Yeah, Thurber.
He's over here.
Okay.
He was his dog, James Thurber's dog, and he made him quite well known because of the cartoons that he made of him.
Huh.
Yeah. I was telling these guys, he bit everybody. He was a nasty dog. He's going down.
The dog has better ones than the people.
Yeah, the dog does it. What? Yeah.
James Thurber. You might recognize the name James Thurber. Thurber was a cartoonist a long time ago. Not sure what the years, like early turn of the century, 50s, something like that. Was he around?
I think it was maybe even 100 years ago.
Long time ago. Yeah, and that dog back there, the final resting place of old Muggs. Bad dog.
Yeah, bad dog. These are like world famous bronzes. This one and the one down there, there are a few more. They stole these. And you know the Dispatch, owned by the Wolves, Channel 10.
Here's the Wolf family plot. They own the Columbus Dispatch and Channel 10 and other stuff around town. This is their final resting place. Giant hornet's nest up there. Look out, look out.
Go up and knock.
Like many cemeteries, there are stories of hauntings here in Greenlawn, and this mausoleum behind me is the subject of many of these stories. They say that if you knock on the door, someone will knock back. It's the Hayden mausoleum. You might have heard of Hayden Run Road if you're from the area. No, this is the family. Let's see if they knock. Wow. Kind of hard to knock, huh? Hello? Well, can't see much. No knocking back. They say if the mausoleum's knocking, don't come if the mausoleum's rocking, I don't know.
Ooh, it's cold in there. Do you feel the draft coming out of that?
Ooh,
No, it's just cold. Hello, spirits. I mean no harm. I just want to say hello.
no.
It's all right. You don't have to be on like blast every time someone does it.
This the marble looks like blue cheese, like a big giant column of blue cheese.
Come back at 3:33.
Yeah, maybe the ghosts are just on break right now.
Yeah,
'cause-
they deserve one.
Yeah, because I mean, imagine all the people that come out here just bothering the ghosts, trying to get them all riled up and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to do that. So, I understand. They just don't let it respond back all the time.
Oh yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, we can't.
Here we're at the Goodale family plot, the oldest headstone in the whole cemetery. Elizabeth Goodale. On the back of this, it says it was removed in 1922 from the old Franklinton Cemetery. Did a video there last year. The Miller Buttles family plot here. Might have heard of Buttles Avenue. It's an interesting one. Lucian Disney Buttles. Ovid Welford Smith. Possibly the first. I think it's the first Medal of Honor winner. It may not be, we cannot confirm that. But if not the first, he was one of the first. And it had something to do with the Great Locomotive Chase. This guy was pretty incredible. So I'll put a story about him below. There's a lot of mausoleum space here at Greenlawn.
Real dark before, like this. But some of them come out real white.
See, Roger cleans these. This is one that he did.
But look how bad it is. That's gotta
Deschler.
be 8 years ago now.
It still looks new, Roger. Looks great. Roger is a wealth of knowledge. He's just telling me that this 140 or 60 acres of land that the Greenlawn Cemetery is on is a part of a group of cemeteries that started a movement of moving cemeteries from the inner city parts of townships and cities and moved them out to natural lands. So they took this acreage and used it for cemetery for so long that this is the only spot in Columbus area that has not been developed or touched, is completely natural. Every other place has been developed and bulldozed over in some way, shape, or form, and this is it. This is one of the last spots in the downtown area. What's interesting to see. George A. Blount. Poor little dude. Well, George here, this young man, was fooling around, fell off the stairs, hit his head on the iron stove, and died. And he was well known. I guess his parents ran a hotel in the area, and this was a monument made out of a painting. It's one of the most famous monuments in the whole cemetery. Apparently, people would come out here and dress him up in seasonal clothes. And now they put this sign out here and this gate around it. You know, took away all the fun for people just trying to dress him up, but not all the way. They have a donation box up front in the lobby here in the office. You can donate clothes that you would have dressed old George in. They'll donate it to children in need in the area. So it's, you know, kind of a interesting way to stop vandalism. I guess it's not really vandalism. I don't know. But that's the story of George. Poor little dude. Jacob Parrott was the first recipient of the Medal of Honor, not our friend over there, Ovid. He was one of the first people that got it, though. In that same group, the Great Locomotive Chase, there was 13 or 19 people that received the Medal of Honor, and Ovid was one of those. He just wasn't the first. So he was one of the first. So you know. Eddie Rickenbacker. You've probably heard of Rickenbacker. There's Rickenbacker Airport here in Columbus. Rickenbacker named things around. There's a Rickenbacker Guitar Company. That was actually a cousin or something of Eddie here. Eddie Rickenbacker was an amazing dude. He won the Medal of Honor. He was another recipient. There are several of those here in the cemetery. But he did some crazy stuff. He got shot down twice, survived, had to stay on a raft for like 7 days in the ocean before he was saved. All kinds of crazy stories. He was also a race car driver. He owned the Indianapolis 500 Speedway for like until 1938. I don't know how many years, but he was into it. Great race car driver. I don't think he ever won. I think he got 10th at the Indianapolis 500. He raced 3 years, and that was all he got. But, you know, adventurous dude, made a name for himself. He's a Swiss guy. Came here from Switzerland with his parents. Wish I would have met him. I just missed him by a couple years. Yeah, he died like 6 years before I was born. Max Morehouse. Laid to rest here among the rest of his family, Max Morehouse was a prominent person in the Columbus area in the beginning days of Columbus. He owned a clothing store, a high-end clothing store called Roland, Morehouse, and Martin's. It was right across the street from the Lazarus clothing store. It's a very interesting story about this guy. He was the first person to order a air freight delivery from Dayton to Columbus. It was a load of fabric for his high-end clothing. It was the first time that anyone had ever paid for commercial freight. It happened right here in Columbus, thanks to Max. Do you know who Flippo the Clown is? If you're from this area, you probably have heard of Flippo. I barely remember anything about Flippo. That was like black and white TV days. You know, Roger remembers, but I don't. I've just known of his presence in the area, and I want to go pay my respects to old Flippo. I did a little YouTube search. It's comical. Interesting clown. Let's go pay our respects to Flippo. Marvin W. Fishman. Do you guys remember Flippo at all? We're in the Jewish part of the cemetery, and there's a lot of stones and gems on top of the grave markers. This be a traditional thing. Usually you see pennies on gravestones. I've never seen rocks like this. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. There you go, Flippo. barely remember you. But
Okay.
you're worth the time to come out and say hello to.
See you later.
What do you remember about Flippo?
About Flippo, he was great. He was there every afternoon, and he would like have Cub Scout groups, Girl Scout groups that would come and be in his studio.
Channel
And he
10?
had Channel 10, and he had cartoons for a while, and then he showed movies for a while.
Huh.
But he was a Columbus legend his whole life.
That's what I heard. I'd seen him. Didn't he do like Donato's commercials or something like that?
I'm sure
Or-
he did.
He did some kind of pizza place.
Probably.
commercial.
Yeah, he
Cool.
was a staple of Channel 10 for years and years. And then he went to what was known as the Cube. It was a what did you call it? Kind of an experimental TV station in the Columbus area, and it didn't do so well. So
The Cube. Never heard
the
of that.
Cube, you have to look it up. Yeah. It was that the people. The idea was to have it responsive to the public, and they had little apparatus that were kind of like a PlayStation thing that was hooked up to your TV, and you
Huh.
could interact with the TV.
Space age stuff.
It was
back
space
then.
age, yeah. Right.
We're saying our goodbyes here, wrapping it up, seeing all the grave sites that we're going to see for the day. Friends, thanks for joining me here at the beautiful Greenlawn Cemetery. Joining my friends and I. This is really a nice time hanging out with friends on Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah.
So long to Roger back there. Thanks for joining us, friends. I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Did you hear that crowd?
See you in the next video.